What's going on, people? Welcome back to the player rating. Wolves 2, Palace 0. First defeat under Hodgson, and we'll be discussing some of those plays that led to that defeat. As always, if you do enjoy the content, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to not miss out on future videos. And let us know your ratings in the comment section down below. Joined by AJ in this one. AJ, it's been a while. Funny enough, it's been a while since we had a defeat. But we have to go through it. This is your first player ratings after defeat as well. So let's see what you're cooking. Let's start off with the goalkeeper, Sam Johnston. 5 from you, 4 from me. Look, apart from the mistake, he didn't really have much to do, did he? But it was he could have got a red card. That's the main talk about Sam Johnston. The first goal, it was literally Joachim Andersen. We're going to talk about him. But he had 2 saves, 1 from inside the box. He had a quiet evening. But that one, mistake towards the end, of course, I can't give him a higher than 5 because that's below average to cost us like that, especially the second goal. But your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think he didn't command his boxes as he usually did, and I think that led to the early mistake of the own goal. He had a mare. He was a very, very lucky boy not to get sent off at the end of the game, where there was a miscommunication and he had a terrible touch. Maybe that's where he's been lacking that consistent sharpness, and it came out to bite him. And in the review yesterday, that kind of led to me questioning, does he keep his place in goal, or do we kind of go back to Captain VG? But overall, below par for him. Great game.
Because of that goal conceded. If he didn't concede the second goal, then I'll probably give him like a 6.
Yeah,
but I have to lower his ratings because come on, that was a costly. You can't get more costly than that. A goalkeeper giving away a penalty and then conceding it. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I still keep him in goal. It doesn't change for me. I still keep him in goal for the next game. One mistake, we'll see. He saved us enough in his last 3 to 4 games to have that one mistake, even though it was a bad one. Keep it going. Let him learn from this. Richards at right back. 6.5. So right back in the first half, centre back in the second half. But in the right back position, AJ, do you think he done enough to give you confidence to play them maybe in the next game? What happens with him going forward? Because in the centre back, he looked better. But in the right back, maybe it was his first game there. He wasn't as comfortable because he's not right back. That's another thing. Saying that, I would still play him. I'll still play him right back. Like, I wouldn't be too mad if he was to play right back in the next game ahead of Joe Ward. But then again, I can see why Hodgson wouldn't go ahead with him. But what do you make of his first and second half performance in different positions?
The thing with Richards, right, is I think we got kind of sucked into the narrative of social media that made us all feel and believe that he was a right back option. But I didn't see any signs of it that kind of screamed out, he's been the right back we've been looking for. He didn't have a terrible game, but what it is he just wasn't tremendously convincing. Going forward, he didn't really offer anything. No overlap, no crosses, no really great passing in the sort of last final third. Defensively, he's solid. And that's why I am definitely along the lines of maybe him being more of a centre-back. He's got the pace. We know he's got the speed, he's got the fitness, he's got the pace. He can go up and down the whole game when he's fit. But I think we need to maybe let that narrative go a little bit. However, kind of leading into the end of the season, and if we do want to explore that as an option, I actually, funny enough, would not be against him maybe getting a couple more games just to give him a little bit more time, because, it's a bit harsh to judge one player after one game in a brand new position. But if I'm being brutally honest, I'm kind of convinced that we do have to, between what I saw from Richards yesterday and what I see from Ward and Kleiny anyway, I would rather maybe just let Richards kind of give the centre-back something to worry about and then go and invest and get a proper right-back in the summer.
Yeah. Look, we're going to talk about Joe Ward, and I feel like this Richards starting at right-back actually helped Wardy. But that's my opinion. We're going to talk about him later on down the show. Let's move on to Anderson. 4 from me, 5 from you. Look, stupid mistake. I just don't know what to say. Like, it was just foolish. It was a foolish mistake. Apart from that, he just didn't have a great game. Got subbed off at halftime due to an injury. 1 clearance, 1 tackle. Got dribble pass as well. So not a great half for him, anyways.
Own goal, got injured, came off the pitch.
That's him.
That's it. That's it. Black and white.
Summed up. Exactly. Gehi, 6 from you, 6.5 from me. I thought you had a better performance than Richards. Not Richards. Then
Anderson.
the likes of Anderson, exactly. And his distribution was, well, like 90% basically. Had like 4 clearances as well, and he kept as the forwards for Wolves as quiet as possible. I thought he had a fine game, not perfect, but yeah, they didn't have much to deal with, to be fair.
Same sort of solid game from Gay as we kind of get week in, week out. I do feel maybe towards the end with that mistake from Johnson, maybe he kind of could have stepped in there, maybe supported the goalkeeper a little bit better because he is technically the left centre back and it was from the left hand side that mistake generated from. But apart from that, pretty average, pretty solid game for Mark Gay. I think I kind of come to the expectation of that's what I expect from him now. That is why he is probably one of the stand-up performers in the team. You are always going to get a very solid performance out of him. You don't really get any mistakes out of Mark Gay. I mean, what more can I add to the man's game? He's a solid player. He's captain material. He's England squad material. And while he's here, I'm going to make the most of him. Happy with the performance. Pretty average, pretty solid.
Left back Tyreek, 7 from you, 7 from me as well. Look, I thought he had one of the better games of the defense, and that's because he was involved in attack. And he looked pretty solid. There was that instance, I think it was in the second half, Traore came on and you was looking at Mitchell versus Traore 1-on-1, and he physically didn't get bullied as well. That was very impressive, and he kept him at bay. Then afterwards, basically cleared the ball out, and that was fantastic. I thought his defensive game was good. Going forward, he was involved as well. I feel like with Mitchell, we're having like baby steps of progression, which is not bad at all. So by the game, he's improving, and once again, I thought he had a solid game.
100% agree. With Mitchell, yeah, pretty much bang on in terms of what I would say. I think game after game after game, which I've seen him, he's getting back to the Mitchell that we all love. In the first half, it took him a minute or two to kind of get things going, but in the second half, him coming forward, that looks like a part of his game he's either improving or he's kind of getting back more up to the standard of what Premier League left back should be. He's not Mitchell left back at this time. But if he continues with that progression and just a little bit week in, week out, get a little bit more stronger in the ball, get a little bit more confident and maybe taking on certain wingers or even attackers in that aspect, I think he'll definitely he's on the right path, man. I think he was probably one of our most solid defenders yesterday. Plus to mention the fact that he actually came across and saved us a little bit towards the end of the second half when Traore was clean through as well. So give the man his flowers, man. He was solid.
Yeah. Moving on to midfield, lots of changes there. You gave Luca 6. I gave Luca 5. I'm going to be brutally honest. He's done at this level for a player that's on decent wages. I don't think he had an awful game, but, defensively, it is so easy to go past him. The guy just stands like a statue and just says, I'm not going to foul you. Just go past me. Because he just simply hasn't got the pace anymore. It's as simple as that. And this summer would be a good time to move on because as we've seen in this game, we've got players there for players' sake. But in terms of actual depth, quality, no. And I think Luca, unfortunately, is one of those. His days are done and we should move on from him.
Yeah. Yesterday, he didn't do anything that stood out in terms of making me think he was a liability. However, you're right. He's definitely lost a couple yards of pace. He doesn't do anything spectacular. I mean, it's Crystal Palace. You're a defensive midfielder. I'm not expecting you to be hitting rockets from 40 yards or doing some spectacular passing and stuff like that. But you're right. If the standard of the club is to progress, we cannot do it with people like Luca in the team. That is a waste of a large amount of salary in the squad. I respect him and I got a lot of love for what he's done previously in the past. But yeah, he just had, I would even say, a bang average game yesterday. I mean, he had a couple decent passes. Tackling, I feel like he was out of his depth with a younger, more attacking-minded midfielder. I felt like he struggled to sort of keep up to the pace. But he didn't do anything sort of that kind of made me sit there and think, oh, well, he was poor. He just wasn't anything above average. He was just bang average game.
Average. But his average leaned more towards a poor than a good.
He's deteriorating. I think he's deteriorating with age. That's how I look at him.
Yeah. It's time to move on. But Lukonga, another player that started yesterday, both gave 5.5. He had a few opportunities in the first half. He had that one clear opportunity where he just shot straight away at the goalkeeper. Second opportunity, he just literally slipped. He couldn't run. his game isn't bad. And when he first came into Palace, because we desperately need another midfielder, he looked fantastic because there's a midfielder that can play with the ball on his feet. But his game is extremely limited as well. I've seen enough of him to say, he's not good enough for us to go and buy him. But yeah, I think this should be the last game. I feel like Hamada being stuck, not even included in the squad, and Lokonga getting game time, I think that's criminal. I think that's the only thing that I'll say about Roy yesterday. Hamada should be getting more game time if Lokonga is getting game time as well, especially on the bench, because Hamada is one of our own. Lokonga ain't. Just get rid of, forget about Lokonga, because I honestly, yesterday, I feel like Roy was frustrated as well, watching the first half performance.
Bad game for Lokonga, man. I think I worry about his career, because if he can't kite at a club on loan from Crystal Palace from a club at Arsenal, what's next for him? He can't even put himself in the shop window to move on to a next club or a bigger club. He might have to go back to Belgium and start again. Yesterday was a good chance for him to showcase what he could do and maybe force himself into the manager's plans towards the end of the season, and maybe either give him a springboard to show Arsenal something, or put himself in the window, or even a springboard for us to maybe consider, you know what, maybe we should take a risk on him. But yesterday was a very, very terrible performance for him. He had a number of opportunities. I understand he's not an attacking midfielder; he's a centre midfielder, and all he does is essentially sideways pass. He's like a poor man's Michael Carrick. Like, he's just pass. Passes don't particularly go nowhere. It's all sideways passing. Yeah, he didn't get stuck in any tackles. Like, you know what I mean? He's not a Decore. He's not going to get stuck into tackles. He's not an Eze in terms of he's going to be an attacking midfielder. And in terms of the chances that he did have, he blew it. I think yesterday was a chance for him, and I think it could potentially be the end of him for this season. I feel like he's in trouble for his career long term.
Yeah. Who's let's go through these now. Who's 6 from both of us? Better than the rest of the midfielders, I'll say that. He was more involved going forward as well. In terms of stats, 86.1% passing accuracy, 31 accurate passes, 46 touches as well. Ground duels, 3 out of 6-1. Aerial duels, 1 out of 2-1. Gave away 2 fouls, lost the ball only 6 times, had flew block shots, interceptions, clearances, tackles as well. I thought he was solid. He had like a normal number 8 role. Nothing too great, nothing too bad, but better than the rest.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Hughesy. I think what it is he's very good at finding a decent pass. He's not scared to get stuck in. He keeps it simple when he needs to keep it simple, and he is capable of doing the complex things. I thought same again. He kind of had an average game with a few decent passes. Maybe on a different day with a different squad surrounding him, we would have got a better performance out of him, especially with the substitute appearances we've seen out of him over the last couple of games. But I would not object to seeing Hughes start a few more games under Palace. I am a fan of his, and I do think he is quite underrated for his role on the team.
I don't know. I feel like his game is limited as well. I don't think he's a bad player, but I think he's better off coming off the bench. I don't think he's a starter. Not yet. Not that I've seen anyways.
Should he start over Schlupp?
It's debatable. Because Schlupp, if he plays like how he did in the first 3 games, then he was very good running from midfield. I feel like Schlupp offers more in attack, especially, and we have more balanced midfield when we have Decore behind him and Eze, as the creative player. So I wouldn't really mess it up for now, anyways, for the time being. But yeah, I don't think Hughes is a starter, but I think he's a very good impact sub. I'll just say that. So yeah, he's one that could actually be a decent squad depth option going into next season. MC was pushed out wide. 7 from both of us. Look, for me, playing out wide, to keep it short, that's not his position. When he went more centrally, he had a bit more opportunities there. And I assume that he's going to go more centrally in the next game. Not a bad game at all. Had, as I said, few decent opportunities, but playing out wide, it limits his game. He doesn't have that creative movement as he did, and it's easier for opponents to mark him.
Same. Shocking in the left side. Second half, where he was more in the midfield and he was able to link up with Elise, a lot more better. He's becoming a marked man. He's becoming the player that, if there's anything that's going to happen in the game, it's going to be him. He was denied a few bangers yesterday because Sarr decided to turn world class on us. But I'd say he had a pretty decent, solid game when he came more centrally towards the second half.
Yeah, 100%. Elise, as you mentioned, 6.5 from you, 6 from me. Nothing special. No, like it wasn't a bad game down the right hand side. He beat his player a few times. 72 touches. He was heavily involved. But yeah, there was nothing about his game. Only expected goals 0.03, so he wasn't really in any opportunities in front of goal where he missed a few chances. So yeah, I thought it was just a average game. Not bad, not great.
Yeah, same. There is something that I've picked up on actually, and literally as I've looked at that 6.5, it's dawned on me. The thing I want to see Elise improve on his game, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do it overnight or if he's going to do it maybe going on to the next season or making that next step with potentially another manager. With his set pieces and his corners and free kick set pieces, sorry. A lot of the time, his crosses don't surpass the first man. A lot of the time, his crosses are wasted, and a lot of the time, now I don't know if that's a set piece routine that goes wrong, or I don't know if it's the corners we're not attacking it right, or maybe he just needs to put a bit more power behind it. But I found that out of a game, let's say he's got 10 crosses, only about 3 or 4 of them get to the man that they need to get to. So I just want to see a little bit of his game improve there. He was still a creative threat yesterday. They still had to sort of take him out and double up on him on occasion, but I still think there's more to come from Elise. And it was a bad day at the office all creatively all round. So yeah, that's me.
You got fouled a lot. You gave him a 7. I gave him a 6. I don't think he done anything special in the game. But yeah, he got fouled a lot, and that was on the ref. Like the ref just didn't let Ayew play his game. There's people that's complaining about him falling down. What do you make of that?
I actually thought he was all right yesterday, and I think the effort is where he got the 7 from me. He kept going, he kept plugging away. He didn't get too carried away. What let him down and maybe perhaps robbed him of a goal or a few more creative opportunities was the easy opportunities that he was falling over, demanding to kind of get a bit more help from the referee. I do agree that he was taken out a few times yesterday, quite a lot actually. But I think when he came on the left and when he was up front, he did work. He kept running at him. He didn't let go of the ball, and he kept putting the effort. And I think I can speak for a lot of Palace fans when I say, if you're a player that's always going to work hard for us, you can't do any wrong in our eyes. It's when you don't put the effort, and it's when you've got a lack of effort, like some players we might potentially mention later in this video, that you're going to kind of start winding people up. But I can't fault the hard work the man did yesterday. Just stay on your feet a bit more longer, bro, please. Because in games like that, that's where it's going to wind people up and frustrate us. But I thought he really worked hard yesterday. I think he really, really worked hard yesterday. And I don't think there's not much he could have done with what he had to work with.
Yeah. Look, especially when the refs are not giving the foul, then it's like pointless when you drop down to the ground. But it's more the ref's fault than Ayew's fault, in all honesty, because the ref was shocking yesterday. We're running out of time, so let's go through the subs pretty quickly. Joe Ward, you gave him a 6, I gave him a 7. I have to say this, as I mentioned earlier in the video that I wanted to talk about this, he looked much better in the second half, even in the attack when he came on. The positioning that he had at times, going and finding the gap and picking out the ball, fantastic. And that's what competition does for you, serious competition. I'm not going to get carried away and say, oh, look, Richard started, and that's why I pushed Joe Ward's game ahead. But him coming off the bench, he looked way more energized, looked like he knew what position to get into, and I thought he had a solid game. Anything that you want to add about Wardy?
Nah, agreed. Solid game. Came on and looked comfortable. No issues on his side.
Yeah. Edward, 5 from both of us. The less we say, the better it is. Literally, forget about bad striker. I said this as well on Twitter. I don't think he's a good enough footballer at this rate. I try to back him as long as I can, but his decision making, his technique, all over the place. He's just not good enough. It's simple as. And it's not confidence. You can blame confidence for missing chances, but confidence is not on technique. Like, I'm seeing poor technique from a player. That's not on confidence. I'm sorry, but he ain't. And he just, it's not good enough, man. You can score a goal next game and he'll be back to usual for the next 3 to 4 games. That's Edward for you, literally. We have to get better strikers. That's how it is. But yeah, you're not happy as well.
Nah, effort versus talent, man. We know he's talented, but he never puts the effort in. Terrible touch yesterday. His touch went into next week. Like, he was awful yesterday. Yeah, and he doesn't put the effort in. He just always looks like he can't be bothered. Now, I don't know if that's a body language thing or I'm misreading it, because I hate when people assume or make assumptions of people or stereotypes of people based on, what they perceive of an individual or a first impression. But I'm starting to see a pattern here where he just looks like he can't be bothered. And I know he's got the talent and we know he's got the ability, but he was just pathetic yesterday. Yeah. Absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, Sharp, he came on. I thought he was actually solid. Probably one of the best with Joe Ward in terms of coming off the bench. 6 from you, 6.5 from me. yeah, I liked his effort. He tried to, yeah, nothing special, but it was better than Lukonga. Let's just say that. That's what I liked about it. Jeffrey Sharp, and then finally, Jon Philippe. The less I say, the better it is with these strikers. 5 from both of us. He didn't come on for too long, but he had a one header, just went over the bar. I'm tired. I'm tired. You can see it from my face. You can hear it from my voice. I'm tired talking about these forwards. They're just not good enough. They're not. Both of them. They're just all both not good enough. So let's keep it as that. But let us know your ratings in the comment section down below. Do you agree or disagree with our ratings? Let us know. Thank you to everyone who's watches. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to help the channel keep growing. That's it from me and AJ. And until next time, up the palace.